If yesterday wasn't enough for you, today the bodybuilding judge, the vice president of the IFBB, is back to explain to us why Niall Darwin beat Diego Galindo. Even though, as we saw in my analysis, it was really close and the Colombian could have even been better. If you don't remember, Niall won by just 1 point and there was a lot of controversy about all this and many people didn't agree. I already gave my opinion on this topic. I'll translate everything Tyler Mannion has said. I'll show his photo when he speaks and mine when I speak. Again, we have a very close matchup between these two men, with Niall and Diego. By the way, I didn't know it was pronounced like that. I thought it was Niall. To me, Niall sounds like nail.
Niall.
Let's go pose by pose so you can see what I saw with these two men. First, I think in Classic the entire top 10 was very competitive. All of them could be top Olympia competitors. The level of this category is impressive, and these guys make Classic extremely exciting. Let's go with the top two. Front double biceps. Starting with Niall, a very strong pose. His structure shines here. He's doing a better job than he did before by flexing his arms and biceps correctly. His arms flow into his torso with pumped lats. An insanely narrow waist. Moving to the lower body, his legs are great from the front, very wide and well balanced. About Diego, he has wide lats that flow into a narrow waist. Diego has wide legs but with less pump than Niall. Here comes my comment, and I'll just drop this conjunction. And we're already losing our minds with the damn quad pump. One thing is to have super flat quads like, I don't know, Josema, and okay fine, I'll give you that, but come on, Diego's are pretty pumped. That Niall has an outer head that sticks out from the middle of his leg in an exaggerated shape, okay great. But it can't be that he gets scored higher than Diego just because of that, when Diego has huge legs and quads. He goes on to say that his arms look very solid but that he has saloons in his chest. I don't even know how to translate this as a lack of depth, something like that in his chest. He has salones. And that it's one of his weak points. These factors affect the pose, so Niall gets the point. I'm not sure what to say. I think he was too harsh with Diego here. Niall's physique is incredible. He looks like an action figure. In my opinion, their lower bodies are pretty much equal. There's almost no difference. They're, let's say, almost perfect. The arms too, very similar. Niall's waist is slimmer and his shoulders stand out more, but Diego's lats in my opinion stand out more. I don't think the chest is a big issue, but oh well. One thing I have to say here is that the conditioning of both was good, but not spectacular. Both had good separation, but they've come in more defined at other times, like at Mr. Olympia. On the other hand, the top 3 and 4 did have spectacular definition. Well, yes, Tyler, I totally agree. I mentioned in the analysis that they came in well, but could have done a bit better. The next stop is the side chest pose. For these two men, it's a slightly weaker pose than the biceps pose. Looking at the top 3 and 4, their side chest is definitely stronger than that of 1 and 2. For Niall, the upper body looks solid. Good width from shoulder to shoulder. The chest is dense. The arms could have a bit more peak. His side leg needs to look wider. I think it's likely a posing issue, but it needs fixing. Here for Diego. Diego? What do you mean, Diego? Diego's side leg looks better than Niall's. For me, what he needs is more upper body, more thickness in the chest. His arm looks solid from the front, but here he needs more size. Also a bit more density in the deltoids. I think Diego wins this pose, making it 1-1. The next stop is the rear double biceps pose. This is obviously Diego's best and strongest pose. He has a very dense back, with a lot of depth and detail. I've already said that the conditioning was similar, but Diego has great separation in his hamstrings and his lines and details look good. Although they could be better. His arms and shoulders flow well in this pose. The biceps have a good peak and he looks a bit bigger in the arms in this pose. Overall, a very strong pose for Diego. I agree, I think this pose is super strong for Diego, and I think this is the one that mainly sparked the controversy, since, as I said in my analysis of the New York Pro, I think that if they're so evenly matched in all the poses, Diego being so much better from the back becomes very important, because it shows a very large muscle group. When Diego is so much better than Niall in that, I think it should be taken more into account, and that should have tipped the scales. About Niall, he needs more depth and density in his back. I think he can add a bit more width. His legs from the back have very good width. His hamstrings don't have the same separation and lines as Diego's, but they look good. He looks a little less conditioned in this pose than Diego. He gives it to the Colombian 2-1. The next pose is abs and thighs, the most evenly matched of all. Niall would take it by a hair. When his abs are flexed, his waist looks super narrow. He has detailed abs and flowing quadriceps. The quad teardrop, the outer part, everything looks good from head to toe in this pose. Diego can do an impressive back, vacuum and curl.
Diego can pull a vacuum.
Very crazy abdominal. I also think they loosen the leg department to Niall here. When he flexes his abs, they're not as deep as Niall's, but his waist also looks slim and he has a really good shape in this pose. Very good pose from the men in 3rd and 4th place as well. 2-2, I think so. In this pose they're really close. You could give it to either one. I think this pose best shows Niall Darwin's exaggerated proportions. Personally, I think I would give it to him too, but just barely. Now let's move on to the classic pose, the wildcard pose, the most subjective pose, where a front pose faces a back pose, a side pose faces a back pose, or a front pose faces a side pose. The problem with this pose is that yes, they evaluate your strong points and how classic you look, how aesthetic you look, how you flow. It's very subjective. That's why I always call it the wildcard pose, to break a tie, to give the victory to whoever the judges like the most. Very close. Niall does a good front lat spread, accentuates all his strengths. His arms and shoulders look well balanced, they flow into his torso. His chest is good, thick, shows striations. His lats stand out on a crazily narrow waist.
His legs
are very strong from the front. Diego did a good job showing his strengths. You can see his back is detailed and dense. In his legs and hamstrings, again, a very aesthetic pose. This pose is extremely close. Personally, I slightly prefer Niall's, making it 3-2. This was a very close show between the two men. I think both of them can bring a much better package to Pittsburgh next week, and I'm excited to see that. For those who don't know, they're going to face each other at this Pittsburgh Pro this weekend, alright? And I'm not sure if I'll have time. It depends on what you want. I could upload a prediction video tomorrow. This way I can show you who's competing and who I think will win. It'll be even better than New York. In men's physique, he said I have a strong competitive line, an incredible core, and I'm very strong facing forward, but need to work on my upper chest. Good symmetry and flow. Ded Van Palmyra said it's all very good and balanced, but my chest and core isn't at Ali's level, so Ali wins from the front. He says Ali has greatly improved his back, adding density and solidity, and while they plan to improve further, he still lacks Ali's depth and density, so it's a clear win for Ali. And this is something I add myself. I think that if things keep going like this and at this pace, Ali could win the Olympia this year and take down Ryan. To conclude, I believe both Niall and Diego have improved a lot, even though they didn't start at full conditioning. When they meet in Pittsburgh, we'll see if it happens again. Diego wins this time, it'll be very exciting. Also, don't forget to watch yesterday's video, where he explains in detail why Criso lost to Tonio. Let's end here. This is Ares YT Culturismo signing off. See you next video.